and Natasha writes, Dear Lori, I have 4 children, 13, 11, 6, and 4. I find myself constantly playing referee and it's wearing on me. My older girls usually get along, but lately it seems like they are at each other's throats. Kay is 13 and about to be a freshman in high school. Understandably, she has recently decided that she is no longer interested in some of the children's games that she used to enjoy with her younger sister. I can tell that she wants to be more mature and grown up these days, and I think her sister feels left behind because Kay can be quite abrupt with her. I feel like I'm always having to protect my younger daughter. Whenever I try to talk with Kay and tell her how her little sister feels, she tells me I don't understand and that I always take sides, and then she accuses me of blaming her for everything. I feel like she needs to take responsibility for her actions, and I don't know how else to make her see that she is treating her sister unkindly and apologize. Now the younger children are mimicking this behavior, and I'm afraid of this spiraling out of control because the daily battles are consuming me. I really want my children to learn to work out their conflicts. Any ideas on how to get them to take responsibility for their actions and feelings when all they want to do is get mad and blame it on everybody else, Natasha? All right, Natasha, let's call a little. No, not for the kids, but for us, because you have touched on a super important topic. In fact, blame is the first of my 4 deadly habits to banish. So let's take a minute here and see how and where this cycle of blame has taken root in your family, because blame is really an easy trap to fall into. We can be unconscious of it even. It's hiding in our tone, in our attitude. Even if we don't think that our words are particularly harmful, we have to look at how are we saying it? How are we standing? Is our face relaxed and engaged, or is it all rumpled up and scowling? When we feel threatened, unsure, or afraid, we usually resort to shutting down our connection with others and using blame to protect our position. We might want to hold others responsible for their actions, but really, in order for anybody to be able to look deeply at their inner motivations and the cause and effect of their behaviors, they absolutely must have 2 things. The first one is the sense that they are cared for and like they matter. And the second one is the emotional safety to be vulnerable. To let go of blame and communicate with someone about conflict in proactive ways requires us to feel a sense of belonging and a sense of attachment with other people. But if we rush in and we're ready to declare right and wrong action, and then empathy is sacrificed, and this is a misdirected battle. Blame is a fear behavior. Accepting responsibility requires love-centered action and feelings. We can never access a sense of emotional safety from a place of fear. It's just not possible. And our kids, they may be stuck in that base level of fear. So our immediate goals need to be focused on restoring love, that sense of safety, so that our kids can feel our care and attention. Not just hear us talk about it. We want them to actually feel the sensations of love going through their body. All right, so today I want to give you my 5 tips for banishing the blame. Tip number 1, first identify what you need so that you can set a realistic goal in the moment. Not a goal about what you want to happen, but what quality is missing from your experience. You may say, I need my children to be nice to each other and responsible for their actions. This is a good start, but that is the behavioral preference that you want to happen. I want you to discover your real need, which is much more personal. Perhaps your need is for building more cooperation among your family members, or for peace. Maybe you want to experience more peaceful interactions and unity within your family. Or maybe you have a need for safety to make sure that everyone is well cared for and not in danger. Once you have taken that time to do that self-reflection and that self-regulation, then you can become aware of your own needs and fully conscious of your own emotional state. Then, and only then, are you prepared to approach any conflict from a place of confidence and not feel like you are at the mercy of squabbling children. All right, tip number 2, I want you to halt. I want you to ask yourself, how's my attitude, my language, my tone? We want to be sure that we are not increasing the fear when we share our observations or our expectations or our limits with our children, and that we do so without adding that extra layer of blame, shame, judgment, or guilt. So, are your arms crossed? Are you hovering over your child in an intimidating pose, or are you using your voice to convey blame? This is going to contribute to whether you are creating an environment of love and safety or an environment of fear, because fear is only going to increase the negativity. All right, tip number 3, reflect what you hear. Don't rush to judgment. Wait to define and solve the problems. Wait so that you can listen for feelings and for unmet needs, which lie below the surface of all those words and behaviors. This is where you want to reflect your understanding by modeling the process of compassionate communication for your kids. Reframing and reassessing any judgmental or evaluative communication. So if your daughter says, I hate her and I never want to play with her again, reframe and reflect what you hear. I'm hearing that you're extremely upset with your sister, and right now you would like to have some space and time alone. Or if she says, you never listen to me, you always want to choose her side, and you always want to blame me for everything, you can reframe and reflect. You'd like me to listen better. It sounds like you don't feel my concern, and I know that must be upsetting for you. Or it feels unfair to you when I rush to your sister's side. I imagine that that's unfair and doesn't feel good. If we come in and announce our opinion or what's right, wrong, kind, unkind, demanding who should change, it's only likely going to cause more negative interactions, not only between parent and child, but also between your children. Because not only do they not get to practice their listening skills or their problem solving skills, but if conflict is always worked out for them, if someone always comes in and tells them how to manage their disagreements by telling them how they should be or how they should feel, they don't get to actually build those brain skills. All right, tip number 4, don't make lessons out of your children's mistakes. Instead of saying things like, you need to be more respectful of your sister's things, or she's mad because you ruined her notebook when you drew all over it with a coloring marker, try something like, you know what, I think your sister wants to know that she does not like having her things touched. And she's feeling very angry that the notebook that's very special to her has marker coloring all over the pages. This book meant a lot to her, and it looks like maybe you weren't expecting her to react like that either. Or, I told you she's not going to keep, she's going to keep touching your things if you don't let her play sometimes. Why don't you just let her play? Or why do you have to treat her like that? Try something like, you know what, I know this journal was really special to you, and I know that you're growing up, and it sounds like maybe you'd like to keep some things private. It wasn't okay for your sister to color on it. I'm sensing that maybe she wants to be included. In this situation, you didn't deny anyone's feelings. You didn't tell them what they should do to fix it or how they should feel. You just provided the conditions for understanding and empathy to take root, to take hold. All right, my final tip, tip number 5, let kids design their own solutions. Now, this may take some time and patience as they build their problem-solving skills, but any time that you can ask for solutions and then be willing to wait for the children to offer suggestions is providing kids with a teachable moment. Before you feel like you have to run in and dole out consequences or penalties, give kids the chance to feel heard, right? Model and guide the communication process. If you play judge and blame, then the sense of unfairness will cause one child to feel singled out, and usually subsequent behaviors will then attempt to meet that need for fairness or recognition or acknowledgement in other negative ways. But when we let kids design their own solutions, it increases their sense of personal responsibility because they feel like they've actually contributed to something. They contributed to the outcome instead of just passively accepting what others deem correct or appropriate. So Natasha, that was my teachable moment for you. I hope that you found it helpful, and of course I would love to know, so be sure to drop me an email update and let me know how things are going in your family. And if you would like more tips and tools like this, be sure to check out my member program, the Family Peace Project. This is where, in addition to my virtual parent education library online, you'll also get to personally connect with myself and lots of other conscious folks from all around the world twice a month to discuss your own personal challenges and your successes. Now, did you like this video? Because if so, would you please like it and share it with a friend? And if you want to be sure not to miss another episode of our Teachable Moments, then you can get these weekly updates delivered right to your email. Just be sure to visit me on over at teachthroughlove.com and subscribe to my weekly updates. And when you do, I will send you my free e-course, The 4 Keys to Shifting Negative Behavior. Okay, now it's time for an exercise. Today, I want you to identify your blame trigger. Most of us have resorted to the not so kind reaction of blaming others at some point. And for some of us, it may even be a really hard habit to break. But the first step to breaking a poor pattern of reacting is recognition. So I want you to investigate what sends you into full-blown blame mode. And then go ahead and come on over to teachthroughlove.com and share it with me in the comments. Because you never know, your trigger might just help somebody else take responsibility for their own actions. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. And please remember, it's always about consciousness, not perfection.